Here I have a 100-foot BNC 50 ohm RF transmission line cable, and we're going to measure the amount of power loss using the vector network analyzer. If you haven't calibrated your VNA, you'll want to go back to this video here in the playlist series to be sure that you calibrate first in order to make an accurate measurement. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, the components we're going to need is obviously the Nano VNA, fully calibrated to the stimulus or frequency bandwidth that you want to use. The two coaxial cables that come with the VNA, two SMA Female barrel connectors, they're female on both sides, and then also two female to SMA Male BNC connectors. You can also use SMA Female to BNC Female adapters, and you won't have to use the barrels, but either one should work. So the first thing we're going to do after calibrating the VNA is we're going to go to the main menu here. We'll go back to hit the main menu, and we're going to press display and then trace. And notice here that we've got a yellow, blue, green, and purple trace. Why don't we go ahead and just deselect all four to start? Now we have no traces or measurements in the VNA as a clean starting point. We can choose any trace 0 through 3 to set up our cable loss measurement. I'm going to go ahead and choose trace 1. Next, I'm going to go into the settings of trace 1 and make sure everything is set so we can measure the cable. We're going to press back, and notice here that the format says S11 reflective here. We're going to leave that alone. And yours might say something different, but we're not going to mess with that one for this measurement. We have the S21 through measurement. So let's go ahead and click that, and you're going to choose log mag or logarithmic magnitude. So make sure that is selected. Then we'll press back, and channel here needs to say S21 through. If it says S11 reflection like you see here, just click it one more time, and then you'll have S21 through. The next thing we're going to do is set up the scale of the measurement, or how we want it to appear on the Nano VNA. So we'll press scale, and for this one, why don't we choose a top measurement of 10 dB and a bottom measurement of minus 20 dB. After that, you'll want to go ahead and choose show grid values. That way you can see the numbers as a reference point on the right-hand side. Okay, let's get into our measurement. Now that we're calibrated, we have our trace set to S21 through measurement at log mag. And you should see on the top left-hand corner, it should say S21 log mag. Okay, now we're ready to measure our cable. So we're simply going to take our 100-foot cable that I have here, and we're going to connect each end to the Nano VNA to do our through measurement. And now we see our blue line for our S21 logarithmic magnitude measurement. And in white here to the right, because the 3.75 is nothing more than the scale reference point that I have here on the right-hand side, our measurement is in white. And notice at the far end where you see this number 1 at 470, because you can see the marker tells you where you are in megahertz here. So 470 megahertz, I have a loss of 6.48 dB on this cable. As I move the marker with my stylus here across the board all the way to say 667, notice that my loss here is 7.83 dB. So it's almost a dB more loss. If I was to look at the specifications of this cable, I'll notice that this cable is right in spec. So that concludes this video on how to measure coaxial cable loss. Be sure to subscribe so you can be notified of more videos in this series on measurements we can do with the Nano VNA. Thanks for watching.